Well. Hello, hello, and welcome, everyone. I am your host and also one of the producers of the LizyT show. How are you doing? This beautiful, gorgeous, I don't know where you are in the world, but it is hot here in Canada. We've been having such a hot weather. And to be truthful, I love it. I love it because this is one of the things that I always enjoy. I'm a summer girl. I'm a fall girl, but a summer girl. And hopefully, where you are right now, this is what you're enjoying as well. Because I have to tell you, it is amazing, and I really, really enjoy this type. So, we have a guest for you today, everyone. As you can see, we've been having a lot of authors, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of coaches back to singing, and we're back to author. And it's not that we plan it that way, but it is what it is. And I love authors, especially when the authors are in the same realm, in the same belief as I am, which is, the love of our Lord Jesus Christ, books about being in faith, books about inspiration. And this lady has written her fair number of books. My goodness, I'm on number 2 and she's going on number 20 something. So I can't wait for you to meet her. And as you can see it on the screen, there she is. She is an author, a speaker, an editor, an encourager. And she has, like I said, many, many books underneath her and behind her belt. So she is a believer as well, and she has a lot to share with us. And we're time constricted. So one of the things that I wanted to make sure that you get to know her and ask questions, because her lines are open. So if you are here with us today, if you would like to interact with us, please do not hesitate to be with us. We're in on social media, as you can see it on the screen, and we're pretty much everywhere. So let's welcome her and say hello, Tracy, and welcome to Canada virtually. How you doing?
I'm wonderful, and thank you so much for having me.
So Tracy, have you ever been to Canada?
I have not. So I
Oh,
would love to know what you consider hot because I'm a Southern US girl.
okay. Well, we do Fahrenheit's not you guys do so it's plus 30 right
It's not
now.
Fahrenheit.
Yes, plus
Yeah.
30. So to us is wonderful because winters are minus 30
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So this is amazing, and it only lasts from end of June to basically the first or second week of September, and then we get the fall. So
Yeah.
for us to have like a couple of months of extreme hot, which I don't find it extreme hot, I
Yeah.
love it. I love. How about you guys?
Yeah. July was unbearable.
Oh,
So Fahrenheit heat index in the hundreds, a lot of days, and humid. So the East Coast is very humid. And then the beginning of August came in a little bit more gently. So I'll take 80s,
interesting.
even though I grew up in the South. I think as we age, maybe our tolerance for heat
I think
goes down a
so.
little bit.
I think so. So let's start with your incredible, I would say, ability, gift, God's gift for you to become a writer. Because it's not your first book, not in this, you don't have a second, you don't have 10th. They were talking on their 20s.
Yeah.
So was it writing for you part of your life always, or it became something that you know what, I've done this, I have another book, I'm inspired by the Lord to write another
Yeah.
one, and that's how I started. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was definitely a God-given gift. I tell people in school I was a math girl. I have a fifth grade math competition first place award to prove it. I did not like essays, research papers, none of that. I was an avid reader though, but never anticipated I would write. And then when I had my second child, so my mid to late 20s, I became a stay at home mom for the first time and did childcare in my home. So I went from a counseling atmosphere where I got paid to talk to people all day to being home with little ones, which was great, but the conversation's not quite the same. And so I started talking to paper. And through that process, God just ignited a passion for writing, for telling stories, for sharing about Him, and just all the ways that He was growing me and revealing Himself to me, and just a love of stories that can entertain and encourage and uplift people. And so people are like, how do you come up with all these stories? I'm like, it's not how I come up with them, it's how I pick which ones to chase and actually work on, because the stories are always coming and the ideas are always coming. I think I have, so with my publisher, there are 6 more that are scheduled to be published in the next 8.
No way.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you.
And
And then I
there's on the on the back there you have how many books? And there about 3 books in the back around.
right. I
Yeah.
limited it to 3. So I have, I did a children's book. Let's see, I'm backwards. So this is a coloring book for my children's book. And then one of my nonfictions, A Transformed Mouth, which sometimes I have to go reread that one and remind myself, yes, we can control our mouths by the Lord's grace. And then the second in my cozy mystery series, which is Death at Williamsburg.
Well, congratulations. Now, when I was reading your bio, you accepted the Lord Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior at the age of 13.
Right.
And I find that really interesting because a lot of us who became a believer early on in life, that was just of going through the motion. Some of us, I'm not saying that was your case, but I
Right.
find it interesting that you were able to continue on the faith. Or was it, did you go through your rebellious teens, your 16s and 17, then you realize, hey,
Yeah.
I committed my life to
Yeah.
the Lord as the 13. I know I'm dabbling in things that I shouldn't. I'm going back.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, so my salvation and then sanctification story is not necessarily typical. So I was not raised in a family that were believers or went to church, other than my maternal grandparents. So they would take us the few weeks every summer that we were with them, which was my first exposure to the gospel. And then some middle school friends witnessed to me, and I was all alone in my bed at that night, and just prayed for salvation. But I was very ignorant. I did not go to church. I didn't have a way to get to church. I didn't even know I was supposed to read the Bible. And so for the next 6 years, during those teenage years, I certainly was not living what I would call a good witness or a sanctified life. But during that time, there would be points where I just felt a conviction about some sin in my life. And the Holy Spirit, because He was there, would work in me and sanctify that area. And then later, I would have this, what I would have called at the time, just, I don't know, just a sudden desire to give something up. And see, later as a mature believer, that was the Holy Spirit working in me. And then when I was 19, my life kind of imploded. So both my parents had moved out of state when I went to college because they had just gotten a divorce. And after my first year of college, I ended up without anywhere to live. I couldn't find a job. The relationship that I had been in fell apart, and I was desperate, and knew that God was trying to get my attention because I was not living the way that He wanted me to, even though I really didn't have a good idea of what that was. But I ended up moving. So I moved, I lived in Texas at the time, and moved halfway across the country to Virginia to live with my mom. And I met a young man, and he went to church, and I desperately craved to go to church. There was just that Holy Spirit conviction within me that I needed to be around other believers. And so that's what I did, and had a wonderful Sunday school class. It was a biblically based church They taught the Bible. I learned that I was supposed to be reading it on my own. I had a young woman who is a little older than me come alongside and mentor me. And that
Mhm.
just changed everything. And ever since, the Lord has just been continually drawing me closer to Him, teaching me more
Wow.
about Him. And every time I feel like, man, I've reached the pinnacle, gosh, I've come so far, He's like, so now it's time to address this.
I
So,
am
yeah.
glad that you're saying that because
Yeah.
obviously it's not only me that goes through that. So, absolutely.
Right.
One of the things that I love about what you said, Tracy, your grandmother was a believer.
Mhm.
And grandmothers have such a important part of an in a child's life,
Yeah.
especially that your parents wouldn't even Christian at the time. They didn't know the
Right.
Lord. They didn't teach you. They didn't pass that legacy into you,
Right.
but your grandparents did. And that it's I hear that all the time. I'm a Christian because of my grandmother. I'm a
Yeah.
Christian because I'm a believer because of my grandfather. And that's my daughters are going through the rebellious stage themselves
Mhm.
now, and my mom is doing I'm gonna going to stop praying because I know that one day they will be back and they will say, same as me, same as you, same as many other
Right.
that are there. So hey, if you're a grandmother out there, I
Yeah.
hear your prayers are being answered. And even though we dabble, in the world because we're
Mhm.
curious and we're human being, and the Lord knows that when you're chosen, you're chosen. I had a lady in our show. You probably know her, Lauren, and that it's not. It's not that you choose him; he chooses you, and it doesn't matter where you go and what you do, you're always back to the house where you belong.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just reading in First Corinthians this morning and just kind of sitting in the beginning of that and taking notes on all the things that he says about A, who we are, and
Right.
B, what our response is to that, what he wants us to do out of our faith and gratitude. And one of the things that stuck out is that he chose us. We still have to say yes, but he chooses us. And that's so comforting to know.
It is, it is. It's not that we have to do much, we have to do things that he does it for us. We just have to trust, and that sometimes is the hardest part,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
he's in control, and that's all I care, because if I wasn't been in control, then things would have been a mess.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So,
yeah.
right now, you're on your 24th book?
My 24th book will be published. I'm looking at the
Crazy.
date. I think at the 20 something. I should know that by heart. I should be promoting it and getting the word out there.
Yeah,
Life is a little crazy. So,
of course.
my first cozy mystery, Death at Jamestown, is a free promotion this weekend. So, that's Saturday and Sunday. So, I'm
Yay!
calling it my celebrating that my husband's retiring free book or back to
Wow.
school free book, whichever you want to call. And then the following week, my fifth book in my Fruit of the Spirit series, which is a fiction series, comes out. So there's a
Wow.
lot of irons in the fire, but the Lord just continues to be faithful and give me those stories and use those stories to bless other people.
I always ask, what is the feedback of people about your first or second? I hear now, I figure you're 24th.
Yeah,
My goodness. You always have feedback, of course. And
right.
you said that people ask you, how do you come up with ideas? And the
Yeah,
idea come to you. So
yeah,
you answer that question clearly. I
right.
do not want to forget for people that want to reach out to you, whether as because you not only write, you counsel, you coach, you have groups. What is your website, Tracy?
So I have two. The first one for my books and speaking is tracywainwright.com. Pretty straightforward, kind of. Tracy's just with a Y. Yep, there it is right there. And I do have the christianwritingcoach.net. I do coaching some. I'm limited in my availability right now, but I love helping new Christian authors who are where I was 20 years ago and have this passion to write and share God's stories, but don't really know how to do that well for publication. Because I spent probably the first 5 to 7 years just studying the craft of writing, writing for publishing, editing, marketing, distributing, how to really craft stories well. And then of course working with editors for the last 10 years have really just helped hone my skills. And there were so many people that helped me along the way. I love just giving that back, but also just love sharing my books. My goal is to entertain. I love entertaining stories, but I tell people I learn the most from entertaining stories that have truth woven in them. And so that's what I try to do with both my fiction and nonfiction books.
So, I see that you do write a book classes, and they're interesting that you have this in your portfolio and your website because a lot of authors that write and they love to share their experiences. I always mention to them, have you ever thought of teaching a class how to write
Yeah,
a book? And oh, I'm not a teacher. Oh, it's not for me. Oh, and I'm thinking, do you want to keep it all for yourself? You don't want to be the good neighbor and share it.
right.
But I love that you have that on your portfolio and that you're able to teach others. And your classes are online, or in person, or just online.
Yeah, I typically do. I have done in-person classes in the past, but I find that online is the best way to reach the most people. I don't have any scheduled right now, so the Lord has placed another little call on my life, which is running for a local office. So my life until November 5th is very tied up with those things, but I anticipate being able to re-kickstart and do some more classes in the new year of 26. But if anybody's interested, they can just reach out. I have a YouTube channel. So what I've been doing in the interim is I do interviews also with other authors, just give writing tips, and I do shorts. That little 1 minute writing tip, how do you write a book in 5 easy steps? And that gives the foundation of somebody's like, oh, okay, if I can just follow those steps, then I'll have to fill it in, but at least it's a good place to start. So that's kind of where I've been serving right now. But I absolutely hope to get back into actually having the live classes and interacting with other authors because I just love seeing the spark happen and then having the conversation, seeing the self-doubt melt away because I see that a lot. And oh, well, is my story good enough? And it comes back to if the Lord has called you to write that story,
Yes.
then that's what you do. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have to improve your skills on that, but He'll provide that, whether it's through me or other resources. And
And
so I
that's
just love getting to have a conversation with other writers and just see their ideas take off and see them reach success in finishing whatever book God's called them to write.
That is awesome. And by the way, also she's on Instagram. So if you
Yes.
see it right here,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
able to follow her through Instagram as well. I'm definitely am following her. Her page is very active and wow. Over 1,800 followers right now, so that's incredible and good for you. She's
Oh,
we
there's
got her
our
right
ad
here.
right there.
Yeah, that's her ad, and so she's this is all of the people that you helped. There's a lot of faces in here. Tell us a little bit about this lady that is here that has a book in her hand. Let me see here. If you could, yeah.
That's is no, I'm trying. Is that Yvette? I think
Uh,
I
looks
know I
like.
tagged her. I'm looking. So yeah, she and I'm looking at yes, she writes kind of mystery dystopian books. She also works with other authors, but yeah, just has a passion for telling stories that the Lord gives to help uplift, encourage, build up other people. And so I've just had an opportunity to connect with these other fabulous Christian authors and share their stories, because we can all link arms and encourage each other and lift each other up. So it's so fun. I don't ever go browse my own Instagram page. It's
Well, that's what we're here because that's
yeah,
how I get to know you, and that's how
yeah,
my audience gets to know you by just looking at your
yeah,
social
yeah,
and looking at your website and see what you're capable and see how the Lord has used you and see it's not just about writing the story, it's writing the book that it will inspire or give hope to someone. It's also about connecting with your audience, which you
right.
do that amazingly
Thank
through Instagram, through Facebook, through your website, and people need that because some people, like I said, they're very good at writing, they're very good at putting the words, but when it comes to publishing, when it comes
you.
to
Yeah,
looking for a cover, when it comes to acting on social media, when it comes to being on a podcast like we're right now, oh my goodness, I coach people to be on podcasts, and it takes
right.
a lot for some people, a lot just
Yeah,
to be able to see themselves on video is just a no for them. So we start audio. We do just audio podcast, no visual. But I like visual because I get to share everyone, like you see it on the side here,
right.
their social media, their cover of their books, and what they do and how you can interact with them. So if you have an idea for a book, or if you are doubling right now of, I know that the Lord has put in my heart to write this story to encourage someone. I went through a trial, and personally, I'm speaking. I did went through a trial, and I have my book to say, hey, if I went through that and I was able to go through it, maybe you can too. Not that I'm better than anybody else. It's just
Yes,
that experience that somebody will say, hey, I will use that. Prayer, I will get up at the 5 o'clock in the morning or three, and I will overcome this because this is what this sister or brother went through it,
right,
and could
right.
exactly impact.
Yeah, a very wise person. Actually, I think I've heard two people say this now. Have said that you only need to be 5 steps ahead of somebody. Sometimes only 2 steps ahead of somebody to be able to help lead them from where they are to where they want to go if you've already been there. And so that's what you're talking about is, you don't have to have everything figured out. If I had waited till I had everything figured out, I don't know that I ever would have finished a book, because it took writing the first couple that weren't great. That first book in my Fruit of the Spirit series, I think it was edited somewhere between 8 and 10 times, but I had to sit down and do it with the information I had, or I never would have been able to go through all the editing process to make it a beautiful story. And so, yes, just to encourage somebody, you don't have to have it figured all of it out. There's tons of resources. I would love for anyone to reach out to me at Tracy at thechristianwritingcoach.net. Just send me an email. Let me know where you are. I can add you to my email list. I promise I don't fill your inbox. I'm kind of one of those that forgets, oh, yeah, I haven't sent an email in a month. I need to send some encouragement again. Connect you with my YouTube channel. And I can't spend 2 hours free with somebody. But if you have a question, I can send you a good resource or just answer that question for you. Because, like I said, so many people just helped me along the way. I love helping other authors, and I do have a limited amount of coaching time available as well.
Of course, and she's given her information, which is amazing. People sometimes don't do that because time is money, and
Yeah.
she's very busy now. You're going for office, which I don't
Yeah.
know how because you're writing all the time. I
All
assume
him,
you're
all him.
and by the way, thank you so much, Ali, for being here. She's saying, "Hey, praying for your books go very
Oh,
far." She does. She does.
oh,
Thank you
nice. I love
for
that.
introducing us as well. She's
Yeah.
one of the reasons that you're here today. So thank you, Ali.
Oh,
And yeah, this is incredible. This is amazing. One of the things that I wanted to ask you, with all the time that you have to spend with books, with the writing,
mhm.
and I know that I'm very guilty of that. And I started a new routine right now, 6 o'clock a.m. That's when I have my time with the Lord. How are you coping with that? How are you able to say, you know what? 5, 3, whatever, 4 in the afternoon, midnight is my
Yeah.
time for me to just spend a couple of minutes with the Lord. No distraction, no cell phones.
Right.
I don't
Right.
touch my cell phone at 6 a.m. for nothing unless
Yeah.
somebody's dying. How do you do it? Like
Yeah.
how are you able to
Good.
just
Yeah, good question. And I would love to say I have a set time every day. Unfortunately, a couple of things, I'm pushing 50 next year. And so for us women, when we start hitting mid 40s, close to 50, our sleep schedules get disturbed. I also was recently diagnosed with sleep apnea. So even though I have some assistance with managing that, I just don't sleep consistently. So sometimes I wake up at 2, sometimes I wake up at 4, sometimes I wake up at 6. But I won't say without fail, but my routine is generally get up, get some coffee, and sit down. I try to make my Bible my first thing. Sometimes I'll listen to a news podcast. We'll just all transparency here, but just to make it a priority every single day to open the scripture. And how I developed that habit was I actually did a Bible in a year using the Bible recap and through the word, which are apps that give you teaching and synopsis and a reading plan, because I just felt like I needed that format. So I needed
are you
to that.
talking about through the word, through the Bible app, through John Verder McGee?
No, it's a
Oh, okay.
different one. So, and
Okay.
I forget, it's a church that puts it on, but it's through an app. But so the Bible recap had like, these are your 3 or 5 chapters you read today. And then I would do the synopsis. And so I just made that a habit every day. Like that is a
Good.
priority. So when I finished that this year, I felt the Lord calling me to Proverbs and Psalms, and then to spend a little bit in the New Testament every day. Because when you do a Bible in a year, 2/3 of that's in the Old Testament, which is very, very rich. But I just wanted to be in Jesus every day. I
Good,
didn't want to
good.
go, a good 7, 8 months without being some in the Word in Jesus. So sometimes it's, one psalm and one proverb, or 3 psalms and half a proverb, and then maybe an introduction to one of the Pauline letters. Or I just finished reading through Acts, which is just amazing what the Lord did. I think we sometimes skip the book of Acts and don't really focus on the miraculous transformation God had made in so many lives. And so I just make that a non-negotiable, that I'm in the word every single day, that I'm spending that time in prayer, being quiet. It's very hard for me to get
I
my mind
understand.
to still.
I hear you.
So I'm working on that discipline. I feel like I have grown in that, but continue to grow. And even if I'm in the car by myself, sometimes that's easier prayer time for me, because my body is doing something, and then I can just talk to the Lord in the car. And sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's out loud. People don't know if I'm on my Bluetooth. People don't know if I'm singing a song. So it doesn't matter if I'm just talking to the Lord going down the road, and just talking with him throughout the day. Like if there is somebody who crosses my mind, or if there's a frustration, really working on making that a habit to just bring that to him. Being grateful. I started a gratitude list not that long ago, which ended up turning into some gratitude journals that I published this spring, because I
Yes.
found the tangible act of writing those down really helped my perspective, really
Yeah.
helped my focus, and really helped my attitude as well.
I'm amazed that this is you're describing my life right now, which is like, great minds work alike, but it's, the Lord uses all of us and
Yeah.
guide us through everything that we have to do just the same way. I also started a gratitude journal, and in one of the things that I know that even for things that are not the greatest thing that I should be
Mhm.
thankful for,
Mhm.
I jotted in there because the Lord is allowing certain trials and issues in your life for a particular reason. We don't know why,
Right.
but we need
Right.
to be thankful for that because there is a purpose for that. Right
Yeah.
now, we don't see it how,
Yeah.
but later on we realized, and absolutely, I'm the same. I'm starting to be just lately a morning person. I was not.
Yeah.
My six morning, and I'm going through the same thing. I'm a little bit over my 50, and it's the same thing. The
Mhm.
sleeping, it's become it was a challenge, but it
Yeah.
seemed like I'm over the hump now. But good
Good.
for you, sister.
Yeah.
Good for you that you able to keep a routine. And one of the things that we have as a business owner and people like yourself, writing, and now you're going to in government and office and things like that. We need to keep our priorities. And one of the verses that I live by is, "What shall it profit a man to gain the
Mm.
whole world and lose his soul?" I much
Yeah.
rather not be busy, but knowing that my
Yeah.
salvation is guaranteed, because it's the busiest I have to be is with him, not with things of
Right.
the world. So, and you know your priority, I
Amen.
can tell, and that's how about the
Yeah.
husband and the kids? Do they get mommy and wife time?
They do some, a lot less in the last few months, but the Lord and all his graciousness and timing. And so my youngest is 16 now, and we're entering our last year of homeschooling. The other three are adults, they're working. I have two in community college. They pretty much run their own schedules, but we still try to carve out 1 or 2 nights a week where we all do dinner together. Life will change again next week when my husband's all of a sudden home full time. We're used to him working a good 40 to 45 hours a week plus 10 hours of commuting time. So we're looking forward to that change. But a lot of times I'll just carve out Sunday that's just family and rest day. And then we try to do dinners. My husband and I do date night every Friday night. We've been doing that, I think, for about 3 years now. So as the kids got older, they were able to stay by themselves. We didn't have to pay $1 million just to go out to dinner by ourselves. And absolutely making, God first, family second, and then just being faithful. And I tell people, we didn't know what ADHD was when I was a kid. I found out that I fit
Mm.
that category when I was in my early 20s. But the Lord made me that way to be able to diversify my abilities and the
Mhm.
things I'm able to focus on. And like today, I just had to take like 3 hours to go through all the mess on my desk because it piles
Mhm.
up. But then you take that time and really just learning that balance. Sometimes come in, you run for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you just take a day, you relax, you get through all the paperwork, you organize everything, you take stock, and just those patterns of life, just like the daily pattern, waking up.
Yes.
I've become a coffee fiend. I didn't used to be, but I don't always do regular. I'll do decaf too. But just that routine of being with the Lord, having my coffee, having my prayer time, catching up on the news, stretching my brain a little bit, and then getting started with the day. But that weekly routine, that's what I love about church. And it's that marker, and we're ending one week and starting another one, and we have a rest day as long as we don't end up with something on the schedule. And then we just have those patterns that we play out. I'm already planning on a vacation in January so we can all get together and get away with
Yay!
the
We can
family.
finally say we're gonna take a
Yes.
little break. Oh, that's
Yes, because life's
awesome.
been crazy, but it's making sure you don't get stuck, because sometimes we can get stuck. And I just ask the Lord for discernment and wisdom every day.
Yes.
Those have really
Amen.
become two of my main prayers for myself, because I
Same.
want to discern and the conversations I have and what I say yes to, what I pass on, what my words are, and then just wisdom and all of that,
Good
because
for
he's
you.
given me everything I need to do everything he's called me to do. And so I just have to stay close to him to make sure that's what I'm focusing on.
That's awesome, and that's really what our focus should be. I'm going through the your Instagram, which is
Yeah.
incredible, for you that are watching right now or will be watching later on. This lady is amazing. The Lord it has used you in such a mighty way, and we
Thank
continue
you.
to pray that you continue to be used for as a vessel for His glory. And if you are
Amen.
looking of publishing your book, or you need editing issues, or have editing concerns, or just an idea, just someone to go and bounce ideas from, you please reach out to her.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you is for somebody who is like love to write that book and is has a little bit of too much personal stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a book that you know that somebody can benefit from it, and they're in the fence. What would be your advice to them?
Number one, pray about it, because if the Lord's called you to do it, He will provide the opportunity. And number two, the where I recommend people start is 3 hours a week, because even though we have busy schedules, most of us can find 3 hours a week that we're either watching TV or scrolling social media, or even, I remember hours with my computer waiting for a child to get out of play practice or gymnastics class or basketball practice. There are times that we just have to make the sacrifice. Instead of going and sitting with the other moms and chatting during practice, I would go sit with my laptop and get work done. And I had to give up some ministries at church at one point in time so that I could work on my writing. And those things ebb and flow through life. As my children were homeschooling and got older, I was able to just sit with them and work on my work while they worked on their work.
There.
Almost all of us can do 3 hours a week. And so I actually have a free worksheet. If you want to email me again, I would love to send that. And you just pick, how does it fit in your life? Can you take a snippet of 30 minutes a day, 6 days a week? Can you do 1 hour, 3 days a week? Or maybe you have Saturday morning or Sunday afternoon that you can carve out 3 hours in one chunk. But you make it what works for your lifestyle, because everyone has different obligations. But I think just pray about it. Ask the Lord to help you make it a priority. And 3 hours a week, you can have a book written in 6 months or less. No
That's
doubt.
right.
Yeah.
Wow, love it. You make it so simple, Tracy. It sounds like boop, 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 and we are done. 6 months, we got a book.
Yeah. And
So
then, well, after you nail your behind into the seat, and there is an element of that as well.
well, everyone, here's your answer. If you look Lizzie, I don't know where to start. You know where you start? You start by calling Tracy,
That's
get with her, book an appointment, 15 minutes, half an hour. I know she is here to help you out. The website is right on the screen right now.
yeah.
On Instagram, follow her on Instagram. She is very accommodating, although she has so many things and publishing her own 24th book. But I know that through this podcast, she will be able to assist you. Tracy, I know we just said half an hour, but with you, we could go on. And I know you have another appointment, but I
Yeah.
love you to be here with us today, sharing
Thank
so much of your
you.
life, your expertise, your sites, your Instagram, your experiences. I love the part. One of the things that I'm going to be playing in the clips is about your grandmother. I love that part, and it gives me so much hope. And for you that are there with a child or even a husband or somebody that you love that is not back with the Lord yet, hey, find that grandmother.
Yeah.
It will work. It
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
definitely work.
And thank you so much for having me on. I also believe we could probably talk till midnight, and I would love to come on another time. And if the Lord provides, and something else to share with your audience anytime.
Absolutely. We'll should definitely do that. Again, the subjects will never end between me and you. So thank you again for
Yeah.
being here, and have an amazing, amazing day, and God bless. Bye bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
You too.